It's got the shape of a legend and the sound of a thunderstorm. But in a world full of silent electric SUVs and high-tech competitors, is the 2025 G63's old-school attitude enough to keep the crown? Well, Mercedes has hidden some serious upgrades under the skin of this icon to make sure the answer is a big, loud yes. Today, we're uncovering those secrets, and by the end of this, you'll see why the king isn't going anywhere. The big question was, how could Mercedes possibly modernize the G-Wagon without ruining its soul? The answer wasn't to change the G-Wagon, it was to upgrade it, with 3 key secrets hidden under that iconic body. Before we dive into what's new, you have to appreciate what hasn't changed and why that is so incredibly important. The G-Wagon is a glorious anomaly in an industry where every other designer is chasing aerodynamic curves and wind tunnel tested efficiency. The G-Wagon defiantly remains a box. Its design is a pure, uncut throwback born from military spec toughness that somehow stumbled onto the red carpet into pop culture and became the final word in road presence. For decades, buying a G-Wagon meant you were knowingly accepting a few trade-offs. The ride could feel more like a piece of farm equipment than a luxury vehicle. The technology was always a generation or two behind its stablemates, but nobody cared. You weren't buying it for practicality, you were buying it for the feeling of climbing up into your own personal fortress, looking out over that famously flat hood with the indicator pods as your guides. And then, the sound of the door locks engaging with that iconic thunk clack. It sounds like you're sealing a bank vault, a stark mechanical reminder that this isn't just another car, it's a machine, built with an entirely different, tougher mindset. That's the foundation of its cool. It's authentic, it's unapologetic, and for a very long time, nothing else even came close. First and most importantly, the V8 is still here. In an age of downsizing and electrification, the heart of the G63 is still a hand-built 4-liter twin-turbo V8. It still makes a massive 577 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque. But for 2025, it has a secret weapon, a 48-volt mild hybrid system. Now, hybrid might make you think of silent, slow driving. Forget that. This system is all about performance. It uses a small electric generator to give you an extra kick of 20 horsepower and nearly 150 pound-feet of torque right when you stomp on the gas. Think of it as the V8's ultimate sidekick. It fills in any gaps in power, sharpens the throttle response, and makes the whole thing feel incredibly immediate. It's how this nearly 6,000-pound beast still manages to feel so explosive. This clever bit of tech keeps the thunderous V8 feeling modern and sharp without watering down the experience. The sound is still there. That menacing burble from the side pipes is the G63's signature tune, and Mercedes knew not to touch it. They just made the beast smarter. For years, the G63 lived with a big contradiction. It was, without a doubt, one of the most capable off-roaders on the planet, with its 3 locking diffs and a military-grade ladder frame. But the very hardware that made it a hero in the dirt made its on-road ride its biggest weakness. It was a compromise you had to accept, until now. The second secret is the optional AMG Active Ride Control. This isn't just a tweak, it's a total game changer. The system gets rid of traditional anti-roll bars and replaces them with advanced hydraulically linked adaptive dampers. So what does that actually mean? It means the G63 can now think for itself, reacting to every corner and every bump instantly. When you're just cruising, it softens everything up, letting the G63 glide over bumps in a way it never ever could before. That old, jarring, bouncy feeling is gone. But the second you turn into a corner, the hydraulics firm up, fighting body roll and keeping this tall, heavy SUV remarkably flat and planted. It honestly feels like it's defying physics. You get the smooth road manners of a modern performance SUV without giving up an ounce of its legendary mountain climbing power. This suspension finally kills the G-Wagon's biggest contradiction, making it a master of all terrains, not just the rough ones. The final secret fixes the day-to-day experience. Look, part of the old G-Wagon's charm was its vintage feel, but that also meant putting up with old tech. The infotainment was clunky and some basic features were just missing. For 2025, the G63 gets a much-needed brain transplant. The dashboard is now dominated by the latest MBUX infotainment system on two gorgeous 12.3-inch screens. And for the first time, you get a responsive touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. This alone is a massive improvement, finally making the G-Wagon as easy to live with as it is fun to drive. But the tech isn't just for convenience. It actually enhances what the G-Wagon is all about. The new off-road cockpit shows you vital info like your altitude, steering angle, and where your wheels are pointed. There's even a transparent bonnet feature that uses the front camera to give you a virtual view of the ground under the front wheels, letting you navigate tough obstacles with pinpoint accuracy. Even small things like keyless entry that finally works on all the doors show that Mercedes thought about the whole experience. It's the perfect mix, the brute strength of a legend now run by a cutting-edge, intelligent brain. So what happens when you put a smarter V8, a revolutionary suspension, and a modern brain together? You get an experience that is 100% G-Wagon, just better in every single way. Floor the accelerator and the response is instant. That mild hybrid kick erases any hint of lag, and the G63 just lunges forward with that signature V8 roar from the side pipes. Mercedes claims a 0 to 60 time of 4.2 seconds, and from this high up, it feels even faster. But the real shock comes at the first corner, where the old model would lean and complain. The new one, with active ride control, stays almost perfectly flat. You can actually place this massive vehicle with a confidence that just wasn't there before. On edges, then you find a rough patch of road, the kind that would have sent shivers through the old G-Wagon. Now, it's composed, muffled, the harshness has been replaced by a firm, unshakable stability. You still feel connected to the road, but the punishment is gone. It cruises comfortably, it attacks corners, and it can still, at the flick of a switch, lock its diffs and climb a mountain caking grass. So back to the big question. In a world of silent speed and sophisticated luxury, is the 2025 Mercedes AMG G63 still the coolest SUV you can buy? After driving it and understanding the brilliant engineering hidden underneath, the answer is an absolute, undeniable yes. Mercedes didn't just give the G-Wagon a facelift, they gave it a series of strategic, intelligent upgrades. They took its biggest weaknesses, the harsh ride and the old tech, and engineered incredible solutions. They didn't water down the formula, they reinforced it. The thunderous V8 is still here, just made smarter. The iconic, untouchable design remains, but it's now backed by a suspension that makes it a joy to drive anywhere. The cabin keeps its commanding, rugged feel, but now has the tech you actually want to use. The G63 was always cool because it was different. It was an icon that played by its own rules. Now it's cool because it has built on that legendary foundation with real intelligence, creating a vehicle that is, against all odds, more capable, more comfortable, and more awesome than ever before. The king hasn't just defended the throne, he's rebuilt it for the modern age.